Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna be making a PvP video. It's just what I've been using for to be destroying people in PvP. If you've seen in my montages, which I do destroy. Before that though, me and my buddy came up with a little skit and made it into an intro instead of being like everybody else with their 30 intros and stuff. I tried a little something different, so see if you like it. Alright guys, what's up? Let's get right into this video. Starting off with talents. Let's see if we can find it here. Alright, so for the first tier I'm going with Bursting Sores. Festering wounds deal 50% more damage when you burst or when burst, and all enemies within 8 yards of the burst festering wounds suffer 54k damage. The reason I go with this is because it's basically just adding damage to your festering wounds, which you are spamming, trying as hard as possible to pop during your matches. So 50% damage to your mainstream damage that's just good to me in my opinion. That's why I go with Bursting Sores. I've seen people go with All Will Serve. I don't see too many people with Ebb and Fever, but for me, I go with Bursting Sores. I do believe that's the best thing you can get right now. Tier 2. Two options here: Pestilent Pulses or Blighted Rune Weapon. Them are going to be your only two choices. If maybe you're doing a battleground, go with Epidemic or rated battlegrounds or something. But for arena, I personally like to use Blighted Rune Weapon because it helps with my burst and keep wounds up on the target. What Pestilent Pulses does is just give you a rune back for every 8 wounds you burst, which I have no problem. Like, I'm good at rune management, so I rarely need runes. So I'd rather take the extra damage from getting extra wounds and popping more wounds. So I go with, on the second tier, Blighted Rune Weapon. For the third tier, I actually would pick between two of these. Castigator. Each festering strike, critical strike applies 2 additional festering wounds. Each scored strike, critical strike, bursts an additional wound. That's pretty good. So I know that the scored strike actually does less damage than Clawing Shadows. It does like 50k or something. But if you're bursting 2 wounds along with a scored strike with this talent, you're doing about 150k scored strikes. And then Clawing Shadows does 130k. Plus the wounds you're popping, which would only be popping once, that's 50k. So this Clawing Shadows does, in the end, I think, do a little bit more damage. So that's why I do go with Clawing Shadows. And plus the range on it is just godly. It's amazing. It comes in handy when people's trying to kite you. It's basically like your ranged melee, and it's really cool because I can do most of my damage without being close to a target. For the fourth tier, we're going to go with Asphyxiate because that's really the only reasonable thing to go with for PvP, to be honest. I'm not going to explain the other ones. If I wanted to make a PvE guide, then, like, if you're a PvE, go with Sledge Belcher, but you're watching this for PvP, so I'm not going to get into that. But Corpse Shield. Now, 2 of these talents here in the 6th tier can be actually really good. I mean, 5th tier, my bad. Corpse Shield's really good for a lot of stuff, but I actually take Spell Eater versus double Wizard comps. Let's say God comp, you got a Mage and a Shadow Priest. 20% extra damage absorption comes really good and handy. But for melee range or double melee, I go with Corpse Shield because that 9% damage reduction is just amazing. And then for the 6th tier, we go with oh, sorry about that. I was reading something. Anyway, we go with Infected Claws. Your Ghoul's Claw has a 35% chance to cause a festering wound on the target. Again, this is adding more wounds, which we are focused on trying to pop. So the more we pop, the more it's going to explode or do more damage. The Crosses would be okay, dealing damage with Death Coil causes your next Clawing Shadows to deal 40% increased damage. Either of these two would be fine, but I personally like Infected Claws, so if you're trying to go off my guide, go on Infected Claws. For the final tier, there is no explaining, just go with Soul Reaper. That's the best talent. Let's go over to the honor talents. For the first tier, I go with Gladiator's Medallion, always, never change it. Second tier, I go with either Reinforced Armor or Sparring. Sparring comes in really good handy when versing double melee threes like Turbo. Physical melee attacks have a 20% chance to be blunted, dealing 50% reduced damage. So if a Shaman gets a proc and hits me for 500k, I'm only going to take 200k if this procs. A Warrior Mortal strikes me for 1,000,000 damage, I'm only going to take 500k, you know, just, it helps. And the other time I'd go with just increased health. Health increased by 10%. I think in the arena I have like 4 million health. For the third tier, I go with either Dark Sim or Anti-Magic Zone because Dark Sim can absorb, or not absorb, it can steal abilities from other classes. It can steal Polymorph, it can steal Hex, it can steal Cyclone, it can steal Ice Block, it can steal Paladin Bubble, it can steal Paladin Bop, so you can use your Bop and throw it onto your healer and get some to help heal, I guess. It's a lot of cool tricks you can do with this, so I like to go with that a lot. But again, if I'm versing Double Wizard, I go with Anti-Magic Zone. Like there's some comps where our Double Wizard, they'll have so much pressure and so much spread AoE, spread damage from dots, that your team all together will be really low HP. You can throw one of these down behind a pillar, and all of your team go behind it, and then you would have your healer top you guys all off because you're not going to be taking too much damage, and your healer should be able to handle 40% of the damage they can actually do, considering 60% damage they do is reduced. It's really helpful. For the fourth tier, I either go with Decomposing Aura or Necrotic Aura. Say Unholy DKQs is you can play with a Affliction Warlock or something. It's really good comp. And Necrotic Aura is really helpful, and right now I'm getting a lag spike. Don't know why, but it's fine. Necrotic Aura, all enemies within 12 hours take 8% increased magical damage. Okay, there goes the lag spike. I don't know what that was. But anyway, it's basically just giving my teammates increased magical damage. That's really good if you have a caster partner. Any other time Decomposing Aura, it just reduces their health. Less health, the less you got to do to kill them. That's just what I have to say about it, so I like using that because it also stacks up 5 times. So that can be really useful. For the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th tier, losing count because I'm slow. I actually don't know which is better, Wandering Plague or Crypt Fever. See, Wandering Plague is just like another dot, an extra 100k over 8 seconds. But Crypt Fever is 50k every time somebody's healed. So when you think about it, if somebody is getting really low and there's a healer spamming heals on them, every time they get healed, they're taking 50k damage. If 50k adds up, say a druid has hots on him, he has like Life Bloom, Rejuvenation. They're proccing every point something seconds, and then he's also healing Regrowth on him. So that's 150k right there per like second. Like it's a lot of. It seems like it would be a lot of damage the way I think of it. I don't know if it actually works that way, but it says whenever. So I imagine if you spam healed somebody, it would work like that. So that's what I go with is Crypt Fever. And Necrotic Strike and Unholy Mutation, between the two, I wish Necrotic Strike was a little bit better, because when you think about it, our health right now in arenas are really high it's like 3 to 4 million. And 170k healing absorption really ain't gonna do shit. And if I'm spamming, like I think it does stack. I'm not sure, but if you're sitting there spamming that so you can get, by the time you hit them 6 times with it, you're out of wounds, and it's only 600k damage that you're absorbing, and that's easily healed back by a healer. So what I'd like to do is just go with Unholy Mutation, and so that way it's harder for people to kite me, and they're always slow. When your Environment Plague is dispelled or ends in duration, a slime spawns dealing 2k plague damage and slowing all enemies within 8 yards by 50% for 3 seconds. So that really helps. I need to do some more testing around with Necrotic Strike to see if I can find a way for it to work better. But if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, this is what I'm doing. And for my rotation, I'm gonna explain why I like Blooded Rune Weapon. So like in an arena, we would call the target that we want to burst. And like I was playing a burst comp last night. It's kind of like a turbo, but with Unholy DK. It was weird. It was fun. It was with my buddy. I would go out, put my plague on, get gargle, dark transformation, scored strike, blighted rune weapon, soul reaper, and then by that time I have 4 or more wounds up, apocalypse, and then spam your clawing shadows. Okay, my pets. I had him on passive by accident. Oops. And then when you run out of runes, all you do is do some death coils, and they'll give you a proc to help you gain them back faster. And then you just go back. And also, the reason I like Clawing Shadow so much is look, I can come way back here. Okay, see where I'm at? See how far I can get. Right here. Okay, look how far that is. I can hit him from way the fuck back here. It's really sick. I love it. I'm like a ranged melee, as I said earlier in the video. It was really cool. And then every now and then I run out of wounds on the target. I will grip them in, and then asphyxiate, get 1 scored strike off so they have about 4 or more. And then Soul Reaper, let them run off again, do what they want. Come back here, pop. And by that time I have Blighted Rune weapon back up so I can just continue to hammer in, auto attack. It's really cool. But that's basically it for my guide today, guys. I hope it helped. I know it was kind of like a simple guide, but hopefully I did a good enough job to where you understand. If you liked the video, leave a like. If this video helps you get 2K or better at all on PvP, give me a sub. And I'll see you later. Bye.